Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. I don't really have a bit this week. We got a lot to talk about because it is season preview time for the spring 2025 season. God, it sounds like we're so far in the future. But
20XX.
we're in 20. We are deep into 20XX. And yes, Aqua has put many shows on our list this time, which will be fun. So
there we go. Already being sacrificed to the bus within a minute of recording.
Another pitiable lost lamb bled on God's altar.
So we got to get right into this thing. So let me introduce everybody. I'm Jel. I'm joined by Iro.
I'm still here. I'm not dead yet.
And we're joined by G.
You know, actually, I'm grateful for this bounty of anime to talk about. Honestly, I love talking about, 29 anime airing next season. Because it means that we get to delay our season wrap-up podcast, which means I did not have to rush to watch Zenshu this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, our season wrap-up podcast, which would have been like Zenshu and Sora Iri Utility, and that's about it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I figure
I think the good news is
No, there's a few too many episodes. So if we put double duty on the backlog, we could squeeze that into the season wrap up. But
I think we could try. I mean, I think we're
maybe
we could.
So we got 4 or 5 left.
Yeah. We could, I think we could make it.
We'll see by next time. It'll probably be because we'll have. I think next episode will be in the middle of new shows coming out, so we'll probably have some time to wrap up and then get some new shows next time. But this time, we do have a lot of things to preview. So we are, and as you heard in the intro, we are also joined by Aqua.
I'm suing my record label for the fact that a distinguished competitor of mine, whom I shall not name, has released a song accusing me of beating a dead horse. And now people believe that I am actually beating a literal dead horse.
Millions.
Which I would never do, because I am an animal lover. I cannot even stand to look at a dead horse. It doesn't matter that I have been spotted at various places where dead horses should not be, along with dead horses, that I have been maybe communicating in a way that some people might find inappropriate online with dead horses. You know, I am not a dead horse beater. And
okay.
That dead horse was 17, all right?
Yes.
And
it was alive.
The mortis had already occurred.
How many consecutive podcasts have we made a Drake or a Kendrick joke?
It's too easy.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I last time I thought I was suing last time I thought I was suing for the slander I incurred during the secret base battle, but you know.
Next we're doing the next podcast, an hour segment about the intercultural intersectionality between blaxploitation and 80s kung fu movies,
I don't think
I have seen kung fu movies were shown in cinemas during afternoon hours when tickets were cheaper, and therefore impoverished black communities could watch these movies more frequently.
I don't know how we'll revive the kung fu movie podcast for that. That was now it's probably 7 years ago or something like that. Anyway. Way to start off as I'm saying, we got to get into this, guys.
This bit's less than 5 minutes. It's fine. I didn't even deploy the Xenoblade Chronicles X button. You know,
exactly.
I'm just kidding, of course, but yes. Okay, well, intros aside, let's get into our list of things to preview for spring 2025. Of course, if you're new here, even though this is a very long list, we do not actually talk about every single new show coming out. You can check out our first looks and things for everything later, but sadly we will not be talking about the show about the girl who rewinds time by taking off her panties.
Alas.
In retrospect, maybe I should have put that on here. I don't know, but it was one of those very obvious porn ones where they had to even censor the trailer, when when they got to pixelate the trailer out, then it's like, okay,
Mhm.
yeah, that's I understand the assignment. But anyway,
Local girl has to fight off the invasion of aliens shooting down light beams towards Earth by taking off all of her clothes.
yes. All right. Let's hit up this list, and we'll start with Once Upon a Witch's Death. Aqua,
Okay.
you put this on here because it is a non-isekai fantasy, is the claim here.
If it's a non-isekai, is this a
unicorn.
this is non-isekai fantasy based on this title? Is this a like 5 cute witches are doing cute witch things show?
No.
Okay,
No,
all right.
no, it's the other obligatory fantasy thing, namely, like sad witch travels the world because she's about to die and learns about the magic of human relationships by helping people with her magic. Like,
Is this one gonna decide that slavery is good and okay, and that she does not need to interfere in this situation?
That did
maybe,
happen
yeah.
in one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Or maybe that when you get abused, it's your fault, and if you kill the person who abuses you, you deserve to be
God!
put to
What-
death.
Okay, so
we need
not
to,
like-
we need to
like
specify
litigate
that we're talking about a
every,
certain
like-
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
all right,
We
so
can't
I want to
litigate every bad anime message. Like, there's so
wanna-
many.
I want to throw some things out here. So the premise, so it's not that the main witch girl is like old or anything. She has some sort of death curse or something, right?
Okay,
that she's
of
trying
course.
to travel around and
Nebulous anime disease.
Yes.
Yeah.
which I find interesting. It says her teacher that has told her about how to cure the death curse is named Faust, which is probably a bad sign for her.
Mm.
Yeah, I noticed her name is Meg Raspberry, which is very
Right.
good.
I was about to say her name is not Creamhild Gretchen. It's Meg Raspberry.
Oh, man.
There's another girl named Fine Cavendish.
Fine
so-
Cavendish was a Xeon pilot serving the Principality of
that's-
Xeon.
that's,
the
No, I was going to
Diana-
say Fine
Diana
Cavendish was a character.
Cousin.
Was a
Yeah,
character
like-
from Banana no Nana.
Yeah. Anyway, God, I was trying to. I just had a flashback to some anime where wasn't the girl's name like Dank something? I don't know, but I'll go find that.
There's
For the
been
show.
too many. We've been here too long.
Anyway,
We've been doing
um,
this too long.
We've been doing this too damn long. Yeah. So this look, it could be something. It is very cute art style, which I feel like I don't know.
Yeah.
A little like it. I'm not saying I necessarily want this to be like some sort of like dark twist type of thing, which I feel like it might be because I mean the Faust is a clue, but it is very. If you watch the trailer, it is very sort of cute. Sort of
The vibes I'm getting is this is like travel around the world and have like, all sorts of experience that bring forth tears, right? Because her thing is like to save her own life, she needs to collect tears, and of course she's going to go out by gathering tears of joy. But then like episode 3 will be like, oh, bittersweet tears are just as precious as tears of joy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Sure.
Well, that's about all I think we can say about it until we see it. So
Yeah, basically.
we can go to the next one here. So I put this on here.
This one is. You go ahead.
MIRU Pass to the Future, but what were you going to say, G?
No, please. You could start. I'll follow up.
Well, yes. To set it up, this is interesting because it's certainly ambitious what they're trying to do here. I think.
Yes.
Where
we can start with the niceties first.
Yeah. So it's interesting and ambitious what they're trying to do. Where there is a connecting. Okay, so the premise is there's a robot that it sounds like goes around and giving people therapy.
Okay.
Can travel through time.
Okay.
And helps people, through nonviolent means. And what they've done to kind of represent the different times and even worlds that it can travel to is they got 5 different anime studios to animate each part.
Okay.
So that they're like completely different looking.
Yeah.
Like, they look like completely different anime.
Sure.
That they're all connected into one
They have, like, a
thread with
through
this
line.
robot traveling through.
Yeah, it appears to be kind of an anthology, which
Right.
is a
Appreciate
cool
that.
idea. You know, even the concept kind of sounds very Osamu Tezuka's Final
Phoenix.
Work Phoenix,
Yeah.
Phoenix,
right?
yeah.
Like, because yes, it's like this time traveling robot, you know, is going around helping people. So like, there's a lot of there are things here with this one that I'm like kind of into, but like one thing that's kind of hard to get around is like some of these worlds look a lot better than others.
Yes.
Like,
and then you
some of
watch
these are
the
pretty-
PV. Right.
It's primarily the two all CG productions.
Oh.
Those look like I was so confused watching this PV because like I was like, okay, there's a 2D character and then there's a CG character, and they don't really look that like similar. Like, is this like because we've seen this before, right? We're like, oh, you'll have an all CG anime, but they'll have a couple characters who aren't important enough, so they'll stay 2D.
Yeah.
And like, so like, they're doing that, but like, why does a CG character look so fucking bad? And then eventually I realized it was an anthology. But
I mean, the thing is also, I'm looking at this list of studios, and these are many studios I have never heard of. So I'm assuming this might be some kind of like young animators project, maybe like a thing that they're like doing, having these studios band together to get something on the air.
Yeah, well, one of them, Triff, is
those are the fucking Mecha Ude guys.
Yeah, the
right?
Mecha Ude guys.
all right.
Yeah, like I kind of
sure.
notice the kind of somewhat similar character designs stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also like, unfortunately, it's another one of those situations where it's like I feel like this may be a somewhat pervasive theme through this preview podcast, just based on like me kind of like paging through the staff lists of some of these, is like we have like a surprising for this, I mean, for anime these days, a surprising number of originals, but like originals with like staffs that I don't. So here's the thing, right? It's like, how do we, what has kind of always been our historical way of like sort of like kind of gauging the temperature of like anime in a given season? If it's an adaptation, it's looking at a combination of the source material and the studio adapting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for anime originals, it's usually looking at like the staff behind it to see what they've done before or what they've made. And I find, we've been doing this for a while, so I don't think we are necessarily like, look, we don't know the names of every notable person in anime, but we've gotten pretty good at like recognizing when like someone notable is attached to something. And I feel like a lot of the originals this season, I look at and go, I have never heard of these people in my life.
Who are these people? Yeah. Like, for example, like I'm just looking at this and I'm taking a better look at the credits, and the second episode is the one that's going to be directed by Saya Okamoto of Mecha Ude fame. So that'll be the one to watch, I guess. But also guy writing the script of this stuff is like a guy who wrote like some spin-offs for Code Geass and like one of the Eureka 7 movies and Vivid Red Operation and
oh my god,
like
the Phantasy Star Online 2 OVA and
right, and it's like, I
stuff.
don't want to necessarily judge a person because like we all do work to put like food on
someone's
the table.
gotta do it.
Like, but like it is like the lack of like a real like standout like, oh, word, you did that, kind of makes it like it makes it hard to like wholly like buy into.
It's a gamble, right? Because we don't know what.
You wrote episode 21 of Seikon no Quasar.
Look, maybe that person just hasn't had their chance to really open.
Right,
up
always got to work in
so
this fucking shit mines,
Yeah.
So
look, man, before he did Gridman, Akira Amamiya was just the Inferno Cop guy.
Like all he did was the Transformers segment.
Cop was also good.
So we'll see. I mean, I think this is only 5 episodes, so like each studio did one episode.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. They titled them like episode 79, episode 101. They're just like random.
Right.
And
okay.
As they get
that's cool.
All right.
I actually like that.
It's a little. I'm like, guys, you could have hidden it a little bit better. The fact that like, so yeah, they all have like these really like they're not episodes 1 through 5, right? To imply, oh, you see, like these are like one story in a journey of like thousands, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you called episode 1, episode 79, Stardust Memory.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Like, what are we doing?
Wow,
This reminds
it's just
me of,
like it's almost like we're remaking Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh no, that's later in
I-
the
yeah, later. So anyway,
later in the list.
well, we'll keep an eye on this. I just think it's an interesting project. I don't.
Yeah.
Based on the PV, I think it'll probably be uneven at best. But
I will
you know,
take uneven
I
and
appreciate-
interesting over, I don't know, like extruded isekai slop.
yes,
So.
it'll be interesting to watch at least. Okay. Let's move on to your Forma.
Yep.
Some cyberpunk detective action. It's like, hey, Psychopaths was popular, right?
Yeah. The thing is, like, Psychopaths, I'm getting more of a like It Invaded kind of vibe,
I'm
or
getting,
like
I'm getting
Whoa.
Psychopaths off this one.
or like AI the Somnium Files. Like the
Okay,
idea
so-
is,
I was like, hold on, Aqua. Did you watch It Invaded? It
Let
Invaded
me-
has a very particular energy.
let me
No.
state my case
just-
because
yeah.
the premise is, everybody has this some device in them now where the government can record all everything in your brain, your sight, sound, emotions, everything.
You forgot to mention that this is
And-
because in 1992 there was a pandemic of viral
That's not
encephalitis.
not important. Not important how
Okay.
we got there. The point is that the government has record of everything that goes on in your head, and so when crimes are committed, they can go in your head and investigate what happened. And they even got Kana Hanazawa to be the main girl in the show. Like, I feel like
Fair, yes,
that's getting
fair. And
as
she has to
the-
work together with like a gruff, hard-boiled dude.
yeah.
Well, maybe. I watching the PV and reading the description, it does seem like it almost seems like it's kind of going more the direction of like, okay, you have your like taciturn female human cop and her like affable robot buddy, right? That kind of seems like what they're setting up here, right? Because she's given a new partner, but the partner is an amicus, an android. And it's probably going to be like, and together they solve crime, but before that they need to get over their differences. Or,
Yeah.
I mean,
We've never
here's
seen
the
before, but
here's the
yes.
real problem, guys. All right, look,
Does it start with a
Minority
G?
Report is a great movie. Well,
No, well,
it's a really interesting movie. Minority Report is a really interesting movie.
okay,
We got to stop doing Minority Report, guys.
yeah,
Like that movie came out in like fucking like 2000 some, whatever, like
yeah.
I get it. What if
2002.
the government could read your mind? That's crazy. Yeah, guess what? That kind of already is real. We're here. It's too late. We didn't stop it. Minority Report is real. We got to invent a new sci-fi mind dystopia.
Mhm.
And at least in Minority Report we had cool psychic kids. Now we just have brands. No, I thought you were going to say that the problem with this is that it's made by Geno Studio, previously known for
Oh.
Golden Kamui and Little Else.
Yeah.
They did some other things that I'm blanking on. That
They
were
did
Uh,
Buchigiri.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, they did.
They did Kokoku with that crazy Miyagi.
Yeah.
Oh God,
We'll
those are
see,
names I
I
have not heard
guess.
in a long time. But yeah,
Yeah.
all right. I'm not getting my hopes too high on this one, but it's something.
Who
All
knows?
right.
It might just be insane enough to fit in the like
Mhm.
solving crimes entirely based off of a vibes category that like Case Files of Lord El Malloy is also in.
Sure.
Like
I assume Forma is some like psychological term or something because I've been playing Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey and the like items in that game are called Forma.
oh,
Yeah, I feel like that comes up in games a lot, right?
just
Yeah.
that one dude who works at Atlas who's really into Carl Jung.
All right. We need to move on. So let's go to Rock is a Lady's Modesty.
Okay.
So Yeah,
Is this
I
a
agree
band
with.
show?
Yeah, I agree
This
with
is
you,
a band
Aqua.
show.
We should no longer cut the band shows from these discussions because every time we do, they end up being. We had Bochi the Rock and Girls
Yeah.
Band Cry both never made our preview episodes, right? So, however, and okay, positive first. The concept is quite funny because it appears to be the Ojo-sama's former rock band.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are very fancy ladies in big dresses at some fancy school who decide that they form like a real rock band, like not like
Not a
like
K-On.
not the
Yeah,
K-On,
like the
music
idea
club.
is really that they want to play like hard rock.
Right, and so that is kind of entertaining. I feel like for our particular brand of girls band shows, we need a certain injection of
Social anxiety.
social anxiety and other mental issues.
Yeah, the thing is, like, this
entertained.
is more like a comedy. Like, the whole idea is that the main character's dad, like, or mom, I think, recently remarried into money, and so now she is like the scion of the prestigious such and such Saibatsu, and she
We'll
has
have
to
more of
go
that
to
later.
the fancy Ojo-sama school.
Actually, the next
but
show.
she wants to, play
Rock
rock
out.
and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, the entire joke is that, like, oh, they look like ladies, but when they rock out, they turn into animals.
Yeah, it's just for me, all of the band shows that I like always have a like down to earth human element to them, and this is like
Right.
not in that direction. But I mean, it might be entertaining in its own right, just as like a comedy or something.
I get to
So-
think, I get to think this will mostly be a comedy. Like, it's also probably not going to be a thing where they try to really sell it as like, well, of course, you can always count on the anime industry to try and sell you anything. But this doesn't really seem to be about them like writing music or like performing music, because
right, and
I've
they
read
don't
some
have
chapters
to-
of the manga and they mostly just do repertoire stuff. Like they don't want to be, they don't want to make it to Budokan. They just want to rock out.
they're already rich lady, like they don't need to make it to the top. They're already at the top, right? So like,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh man, I just
Wow.
realized why this name
Wow.
looks familiar.
Hmm.
The show is directed by Shinya Watada, who is also notable for directing Gundam Build Divers,
Oh my god.
Okay.
Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise.
Okay, all right.
All right,
So
that's something.
yeah,
So-
which that's not really an endorsement. I'm gonna be real. Just
All right. Well,
just
I'll say, I might enjoy it for different reasons than I normally enjoy a band show, but we'll have to see.
This kind
really
of
just
has like
hinges on, like-
shitbag comedy vibes, though, based on some of the manga I've
which
read.
is another thing I also enjoy. But
Yeah.
yes.
how
we'll see.
how mentally ill are these girls? That's really the key question we're asking here.
Not enough. All right. Well, speaking of,
Damn.
The GLORIO
Man,
blog
man,
endorses mental illness.
if this is your first time listening to us and you don't understand the context of me saying that, I apologize to
God.
whoever you may be. But let's move on. Speaking of Zaibatsus,
Right.
I threw this on here as well. The dinner table detective is about a beautiful young lady who is the heiress to the big Zaibatsu, but she chooses to work as a detective. And I was writing it off until I watched the trailer because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be another anime detective show, which I think I've come to now just hate at this point. So, but when I watched the trailer, it's like mostly Kana Hanazawa and Mamoru Miyano hamming it up for some
All
reason.
right.
It's
Okay.
very like
What is this, 2008?
it's very it's almost campy. Like it's not like at least in what I was seeing in the trailer, there was not a lot of like serious like detective work and mystery solving going on. So I kind of liked the energy of it. It could be wrong,
So-
as we are basing this off of a 30-second PV, but
Yeah.
that is energy.
So-
That could be fun.
The thing I'm getting from
also
this is
there's
like,
also in the credits there's credits for some kind of mascot character and also a red and blue ranger.
all right,
Okay.
now I'm in. Yeah,
So there's something
So-
there's some silliness going on here that I might be into. Go ahead.
The thing I'm getting from this, based on the premise, is like, I don't know. This seems to raise like a little of a red flag to me, because this seems to be like the titular dinner table detective is not actually the girl; it's her butler, and like
Like
it says like, oh,
fool who runs around and her butler does all the work. Like,
yes, like this, like the vibe seems to be that this girl is like a girl failure who pretends to be a detective, while her butler is actually the one who solves all the crimes.
Okay.
And yeah, sure, that can be funny, but also, I don't know, just the idea of like, oh, this guy is taking all the credit for this wacky woman who just wants all. This woman is taking all the credit. Like, that's
I'm
just,
sure,
I don't know.
I'm sure there are other examples, but I would call it the Inspector Gadget formula.
Yeah, I mean that's been a thing since like the Green Hornet and Kato. Right?
Yeah, or yes, the
Right,
Green
yeah.
Hornet. Yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
of
it's-
yeah. Maybe
But you see, the difference here is that, like, well,
yes.
in those things, the competent one is the one you would not expect to be the competent one, right? That is the joke.
I guess so. I mean,
yeah.
As opposed, in the sense of like the sidekick's the competent one.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Like, oh, the weird, like, driver kung fu guy is actually the competent
There's no way
one.
the minority could be competent.
I mean, basically, like,
yeah.
Well,
here
I
you have
would-
it.
I
you have
mean-
it switched around, right? Like,
Green Hornet wasn't a joke. That was just racism. The
yes. To be
Inspector
clear,
Gadget. Inspector Gadget was was the actual joke.
Nice.
Whereas, where Penny was the smart one. But and also, I'm not going to get an Inspector. We don't have time to get an Inspector Gadget.
Nope.
My point is,
go gadget discourse.
this looked fun.
Christ.
So I might check it out. That's all I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
All right. Let's talk about Anne Shirley, aka the 2025 remake of Anne of Green Gables.
How can you remake
This is-
the 1979 Isao Takahata TV anime of Anne of Green Gables? What the fuck is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
No, this is like really. I don't like.
This is
there's
like
real-
upsetting, right?
there's something like really chaotic happening here. Like it's.
Did you guys watch the PV?
Yeah,
Did
I mean, it seemed-
something about-
I have not. but-
Something about seeing this with like the cute modern. I mean, not that
Right.
the old shows weren't like cute by the 70s standards, but like you know what I mean. Like the
Yeah,
current
yeah, of
present
course.
day cute anime girl little character designs, and they're playing like the modern anime pop song in the background. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this.
Right.
I think the music was the worst part of it for me. It's like, oh, this does not feel right.
This has to
does not
be a
feel good at all.
4x3 Lucrania shit, have like watercolor background, and the main character voiced by a 60-year-old woman. Like,
This is particularly right. So, like, just as a quick recap, right? Like, obviously, Anne of Green Gables is an iconic
Yes.
series of novels, right? That is correct,
Yes.
and were adapted into a TV anime by Ghibli legend Isao Takahata, and like it's almost like I mean it's too far. It's before even our time, but
Yes.
like Anne of Green Gables, it's like
It's a foundational anime, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, it
Mhm.
is it is a foundational anime in a way that like is so pervasive and all encompassing you don't even think about it. Like it's like when we think about what are the iconic anime, right? It's a Dragon Ball, it's a Gundam, it's a Sailor Moon, etc. And it's like Anne of Green Gables was somehow the progenitor to even all of that, right? Like
You put it next to like Astro
Like
Boy almost.
Astro Boy or something.
yeah,
It is-
right. Like
I mean, it is
like,
one of those shows that defies anime. Like, it is
Right,
like
like-
Heidi of the Alps. Like,
Yeah.
like channels all over Europe could program this as part of their kids programming, and it would not be like edgy in the slightest, the way that
right, like
airing something like Dragon Ball or Sailor Moon could be. Like,
yeah, like
and
this
that's
is-
not
this
that's
is a
not
show-
an insult. That is just
No, yeah,
how
it's-
ubiquitous it is. Like,
But this is a show that like begins to define the anime as a distinct like medium of animation, right?
Mhm.
And so to make a remake in 2025, it's like so much has changed, right? About anime, about media, about audience tastes. Like
Yeah.
like
But
Like,
gee, it is popular thing from the past.
and to be clear, like this is like
Thing you remember.
Oh, okay, but do they? Are the people who watched Anne of Green Gables
Yeah.
still alive?
No, but that doesn't matter. Nowadays, they're making a fucking, like, what is it, like Monopoly movie? Because it's like, oh, Monopoly, that's a known quantity.
okay,
That's
but
the
that's like
only
a
thing that
brand.
matters. Like,
okay.
My point is that the Green Gable heads are like by and large 6 feet under.
Yeah.
You say this, but Netflix did a Anne of Green Gables live action show a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so,
and it was quite popular.
All right.
So
Fine.
okay, all right. Let's back up a little bit here. So yes,
Things
Anne of
heating up in the Anne of Green Gables.
Anne of Green Gables is a bigger thing than just the anime. It's also the original book has had others like live action TV spin-offs. Like it's a big deal. The original book is a big deal in itself.
Yes.
We're just talking specifically about the anime, which has its own cultural impact in the anime space, right?
Yeah.
So yes, there people who have don't know a lot of people who don't know anything about the Anne of Green Gables anime know about Anne of Green Gables through many other sources. It's a big deal. But so that said, this is like, we mentioned Astro Boy. This isn't like Pluto or Atom or something. This is like an actual, like, if somebody tried to remake Astro Boy, like the original series in 2025, type of thing, and it feels wrong.
This is a fresh Anne of Green Gables anime.
Yeah.
It's just the context in which it exists is like kind of bizarre.
Let me guess, is it going to be a more faithful adaptation of the books?
Who knows?
I mean, that's always the thing they come up with, right? Like,
Yeah. I'll just say it is very funny to go on any chart where we do our seasonal anime previews, and on staff, Lucy Maud Montgomery, original creator, with her like black and white 1908.
That is pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. So
I mean, like, you click on her name and she actually has like a bio, like a profile. Somebody wrote
she has a profile like any other like manga artist or something.
This is the anime equivalent of how William Shakespeare has a letterboxed profile. Like,
right. It's like God. It's what is it like? It's like you go to like the Star Wars Wikipedia and it's like there's like fucking an entry for like, like water or oxygen, or
paper, hell,
anyway, let's move on then. Let's talk about Lazarus.
This is probably the one.
Watanabe still.
Except for Gundam. Yeah.
Is it?
Well, okay, so. All right, so let's get that.
Right, let's explain what it is first.
Shinichiro Watanabe.
Right. Yes,
Hey guys, you remember Cowboy Bebop?
He said on Tuesday.
Yeah. Shinichiro Watanabe said, "All right, fine. You guys want Cowboy Bebop? I'll give you Cowboy Bebop." Although
I love
this
Space
looks like
Dandy.
it has
made more Space Dandy.
Although personally, I look at this and it looks like it has like half the charm and zero joy, but I'll remind everyone, I have been on the record since day one of the GLORIO blog that I think Cowboy Bebop was a little overrated, but quite frankly, Shinichiro Watanabe's track record, aside from Space Dandy, in the past 20 years hasn't been great either. So
that's kind of the interesting thing, right? So Lazarus very much seems to be presenting itself as what Watanabe returning to form, right? He's going back to the thing that made him famous, right? Because we've talked about this.
You look at the key art and it's literally got like the color squares, like the Cowboy Bebop OP, right? Like,
And so here's the thing, right? Like, look, is Cowboy Bebop maybe potentially slightly overrated? Yes. Is Cowboy Bebop still like one of the coolest anime ever made? Also, yes, right? This is one of those things of like, yes, it is.
And it has an outsized like mind space in the West.
Right. Like, look, man, like, I have gone back and watched, just random episodes of Cowboy Bebop in the last few years. That show still bangs, all right? It's like, there's no way around it, right? It's like, damn. This show was it, huh? But here's the thing, right? I think we've been on record in the past on this podcast talking about how I think holistically, we all want to support creators who want to do what we want creators to do what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
We don't want creators to feel like they have to pigeonhole themselves into a specific venue or niche. Like, we want them to explore, we want them to experiment. The problem with Watanabe is that every time he went out of his wheelhouse, it kind of crashed and burned. Outside of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and Space Dandy, I'm beginning to suspect that Watanabe is maybe not that good of a director.
I mean, the thing is, we always need to make sure not to conflate a director with a writer, right? Some of the stuff,
Kimiko Ueno episodes of Carol and Tuesday were great.
Say about Carol and Tuesday what you want, but the production was really well done. It was a well-directed show. It had fun music. He got together a bunch of great musicians to do music for that show. The world looked interesting. It's just the story just wasn't all that. And I think the same thing also goes for something like, for example, Kids on the Slope, which he also directed, where also most of my problems with that show are just in the script, which a director doesn't have much to do with. I think we need to nuance that a bit.
I think he does have. Didn't he actually have a hand in writing Carol and Tuesday? I think it varies depending on
he might have been the idea.
He wrote a couple episodes,
and also
finales.
And also, I guess you could debate Space Dandy had a lot of Space Dandy had a lot of directors, right? So that I think it changes from project to project, and that's fair.
Yeah, he wrote 3 episodes of Carol and Tuesday. He also wrote. He also storyboarded Hathaway's Flash.
Yeah, that's always the weirdly surprise. Yeah, that's a surprising credit.
Let's loop back around to Lazarus itself.
The point I was making is I didn't mean to just relitigate Watanabe's career. The point I bring it up is Lazarus does seem like it's being advertised as he's back at it, right? He's gonna do a slick sci-fi, kind of heist energy kind of, show. And that's cool, and I can appreciate that, but there is something about Lazarus, watching the clips I've seen of it so far. I don't know if it's just I really don't want to be an old, good, new, bad person, but there's something about the way it is stylized, the arts, the design of its sci-fi world. It's
giving me some Metallic Rouge vibes.
I'm with you, G, and I think what I've pinned it to is that this is supposed to be near future. So it says it's supposed to be 2052, which I regret to inform everyone is not that far away. And I will hopefully still be alive in 2052. Yeah. So to me, if I can, they're trying to channel the space dandy, Cowboy Bebop vibes, but Cowboy Bebop was I guess way in the future, you're in space, you're in spaceships. It's a completely different world, right? And seeing that,
not only that, but it was so informed by the particular aesthetics of its time, right?
Yes.
The 90s,
right.
Hong Kong,
grungy,
right? And I was gonna say you kind of combine that with that, like you said, the kind of aesthetics of the night, and it makes this interesting, this visually interesting sort of. And this is just okay, well, if you gave me some, a couple extra robots or something and sprinkled into 2025, it doesn't look that different, right? It's just I don't know,
maybe that's what it is. Is this future doesn't look cool.
It just looks
trailers.
It almost looks they were trying to actually
around with Winamp visualizers on them.
Yeah. it's almost like they were trying to like actually predict what 2052 would look like, which is probably not going to be that crazy compared to present day, right? Like, so I don't know, maybe that kind of takes some of the kind of visual interest out of it for me. That's what I was kind of arriving at, but
the thing that seems to be the thing is like that it gives many people sort of like Force Awakens vibes in that you know, like the original Star Wars referenced all these different movies and series and serials, whereas the Force Awakens only references one movie, namely Star Wars. Like
that could be true too.
Yeah,
it also just has kind of try hard vibes, maybe. Like the whole thing is like, oh no, we got the guy from Cowboy Bebop and the guys from John Wick who's doing the actor.
Well, you know, they did the action for Ninja Cowboy and it sucked. So
and you know, we got Floating Points in Kamasi Washington on music, so you get all the hottest new like hipster jazz. It seems a little bit too like
it does almost like
it's
gonna be on Adult Swim, right? Like it almost feels like it's trying to.
It's made so that you can put the Watanabe is back on the poster, right?
Yeah,
like,
you know, it's funny, G, because like you said, we want the artists to do what they want. Does Watanabe even want to do this? Like, is he moved on, and now they're like making him, you know, come back to this? Then he's
and that's why, right? Like. I think that Lazarus may be like an existentially galling moment for anybody who has enjoyed like the works of Shinichiro Watanabe, because him doing what he wants, stuff like Carol and Tuesday and Kids on the Slope, uneven. Okay, well maybe he should just go back to what he's good at. Okay, what if he's not good at what he used to be good at anymore?
Yeah, what if he doesn't want to do it? Like if he doesn't want to do it anymore, and it's not going to have which then puts him in a really uncomfortable position of, okay, what is Watanabe good at in 2025?
Right.
It's also like, you know, this is something I always harp on with nostalgia. It's like you can't go back to, right? Like, you know, you can't. It's like I personally I hate replaying video games because like you could even my favorite video games, you're never going to get that feeling back. Like if you replay it. You know, unless if it's a game that's not designed to be replayed, you know, if you know, I go back and play, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics, one of my favorite games of all time. If I go back and play that, I might get like a couple hours in and realize, oh yeah, I've done this already. I'm not gonna, you know, I can't recreate that feeling of playing it for the first time again. And going back and remaking Cowboy Bebop is not going to make you feel the same as watching Cowboy Bebop for the first time. I'm sorry, people over 30 or maybe even over 40. That is just
watch Akudama Drive instead. I don't know, like
that is just the reality of nostalgia, folks. So,
all right, I'll tell you what. All right, all you Cowboy Bebop fans out there. All right, I know. Don't try to hide it. I know a lot of you have not watched Samurai Champloo yet. All right, just go. Like, it's right there. All right, like
Jabez is no longer with us. You need to do him a solid beyond the grave.
If you are the Cowboy Bebop boomer, if you are Cowboy Boomer and you're like, damn, they just don't make anime like this anymore, Samurai Champloo is right there. You know, it's always been there.
I mean, that's like what, 2 years younger or something.
Look, I'm just saying there's a lot of people who watched Bebop and then never watched Champloo.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think Ira, you mentioned Akudama Drive. I think that's fair too. It's not the same, but
no, just I've tried to pick.
That's kind
something.
of my point of watch a different anime, guys.
Yep.
Like,
read another book, watch a different anime. Stop watching
expand,
only Shonen Jump. You know,
expand your horizons a little bit, folks. It's
play some dungeon crawlers. I don't know, like.
Well, we'll get to that later as well, but yeah. All right.
Wrong bit. That's not the next. That's not the next show.
Damn it, you're right. Shit. Play some fighting games you've never played. Like
okay.
Lost under 20%.
A lot of people have played.
A
lot of people have played this particular fighting game. It's time for Guilty Gear Strive Dual Rulers. The anime. I fully expect this to be terrible, but G, as our foremost Guilty Gear expert, what do you think?
All right, so in the 1990s, mankind discovered the backyard, an interdimensional repository that contained all the information necessary to creating the world we. All right, look, in all actual
I knew that they could not blame society.
Yeah, I am not actually that guy. I cannot actually do the entire Guilty Gear lore breakdown. It's too much. There are people who have devoted their entire lives to breaking down Guilty Gear lore. I'm not one of them. But that's actually maybe the thing that will be in this anime's favor. So yes, this is a Guilty Gear Strive anime. It's being done by Sans again, which is fitting. It looks like they're literally just using the models from the game.
Yeah, just send them the
specific type of stylized CG. Sanzigen's about the only.
Yeah,
like Orange kind of is doing their own thing. Like for this
like quite
type, you get Sanzigen. Yeah,
and like quite honestly, the Guilty Gear Strive 3D models are good enough that like it's actually probably the most sensible thing you could do.
Yeah,
but so I think the thing that like may work in Dual Ruler's favor is it seems to be an original. Like, we're not doing the adaptation route. We're not gonna like try to like force you to like get acclimatized to 30 years of fighting game lore in an anime. Like, it's a standalone story.
Right? Isn't this like a sequel to the story? Like
prequel, technically.
Prequel, okay.
Yes, it takes place in between the events of Guilty Gear Xrd and Guilty Gear Strive. It is focused on what appears to be sort of the adventures of Soul Bad Guy, the Guilty Gear, and his nephew, Sin Kisuke, son of
his
Kai
grandson.
Kisuke and Dizzy. Grandson, yes, you are correct, yes. Guilty Gear lore is... Anyways, so like in universe, this is kind of fitting. Like, this works with the game because in the games as well, they kind of say, oh yeah, these two basically like went on like Trigun style shonen adventures across the lands in between the two games. And so this anime basically purports to be, this is one of the adventures they went on in between those two games. And there's an original character, Unica, who was announced to be the third or fourth DLC character in this season of Guilty Gear
synergy.
So they're getting their synergy. Yep. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna like break down like the synopsis. It just seems like, a Gaiden, a standalone story.
Guilty Gear
like,
Gaiden.
I'm sure there will be things here. Like, I would bet money that there will be things here that tie into Strive, right? They will do. Somebody will say the words "the backyard" somewhere in this anime.
Somebody will say that man.
That man. Like, I think. If I'm trying to be optimistic, they are, we're going to approach this from a, like, this side story exists to get people, like, into Guilty Gear. It kind of helps that the protagonist, Sin Kisuke, is probably the second or third dumbest character in the Guilty Gear setting. So he works perfectly as our, like, viewpoint protagonist.
He seems real main character-ish from a specific point of view, right?
Yeah. I mean, he is the new generation. He is oh fuck, yeah. I guess.
Camille.
Well, I don't want to say he's Sean. That's not fair to Sin.
Luke.
He's not
Luke is.
Luke. Yeah, I guess he is Luke from the streets. I guess Sin Kisuke is.
Will anybody say Heavenly Potemkin Buster in this anime?
I got bad news for you, man.
Will we get an appearance from the Secretary of Absolute Defense?
Gold Lewis did more likely. More likely,
fine. If Gold Lewis shows up, I'm okay.
I don't think I have seen a hide nor hair of one Potemkin in any piece of promotion.
I've seen fucking Leo Whitefang in previews. I've not seen Potemkin.
Well, that's because Leo Whitefang has always been a consistent top 5 character, a solid rushdown pick, great Loki. Leo Whitefang, competitive, viable.
All right.
Well,
Potemkin, not so much.
I'm gonna pour the bucket of cold water on this and just say that there has never been a good fighting game anime.
No, you are right.
And
there has never been a good game anime.
Yeah, I'm sure there has, but I'm sure if we just say games, we could think of one.
Well, no. Nier Automata aired last year. We liked that.
That was pretty good. Yeah. Are we counting Rage of Bahamut?
That's fine.
No, you are right.
Fighting games specifically, though, I was having flashbacks. So you guys remember the BlazBlue anime?
Oh,
and watching the first episode of that, and they were like, when it got to the next episode preview, they didn't have anything ready to show, and it was
Yeah,
just
that
a
was
picture of
odd.
Jin,
and that was just
and-
like adapting the story of the first game, which is like not suited at all for that format.
Yeah, and if you think Guilty Gear lore is crazy, you get into BlazBlue, right? But I was just reminded of like the first episode was very bad, and they didn't have like previews ready for, and like the poor production team had somebody at the end just being like, "Oh, we're doing our best, we're working really hard. Please stick with us." And I felt so bad. It's like, because I'm not watching another episode of this. So I have a feeling like if you're into the games as you are, G, there'll probably be some cool things happening. And I do think having Sanzigen do this was like an inspired choice. Like that, I'm glad they seem like the best people to do it if you're going to do it this way, right? Where you're,
I think
keeping
so.
it CG,
But I to be clear, like me talking about being optimistic for Guilty Gear dual rulers, what I'm more optimistic for is okay. I think. My hope is I'm grading on a curve that this anime will be entertaining in the way that, like, is Street Fighter the movie a good, or the OV, or not the movie, not the live action, not the raw
Street Fighter 2 the movie, right? Like
the
one
one
with
where
Chun-Li
Chun-Li's showering and then fights
Yes,
Vega.
the Chun-Li shower fight. Yes, like
Yeah.
will it be good in the sense that it is like entertaining to watch, like
Right.
not like will it have enough visual flash and like just enough substance to be something you can like consume and enjoy, right? That is sort of my hope. I am not out here being like, I think this anime might actually be like unqualitatively good,
but it could.
Right.
I think it's kind of what I was getting at, of like, especially if you like the games, that there might be some like cool action and stuff like that to look at, right?
Like, will this anime be 12 episodes of Guilty Gear cutscenes, right? Like that's
right. I mean, isn't that basically what the story mode already is? Like,
yes. So
much of the story modes of those games anyway, right? Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm just here for another year of Bridget posting.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that the characters they have chosen for this anime is some real, like, oh, we don't care about narrative consistency or thematic resonance.
the popular
we're
people,
we're gonna pick like here's your cast, right?
They got the popular ones from based
right.
on what I'm
All
seeing
right.
in the poster.
It's Dizzy, Biken, Bridget, Ramlethal, Valentine, and Elfelt. It's literally just who are the 5 most popular female characters.
Yeah.
Jacko's in there.
Jacko.
Yeah, where's Jacko?
She's in there.
She's in the opening.
Oh.
She is in the opening. Well, she has to be. She's Soul Bad Guy's wife. She's very important. She has the soul of Arya inside.
Bad wife. Yeah.
Where's what's her name? Ramlethal, is that how you say it?
Ramlethal, yes.
Is she in there?
Yeah, she is. She is.
Okay, I didn't see her in the poster. Oh,
What about
everybody's there. By everybody, yes,
what
the most
about
popular female
Rage?
character.
Oh, what? Who?
What about Amelia Rage? I don't know. I'm trying to remember other characters.
Look, man. If you really want to get it, I got bad news for you, man. Amelia Rage is like
She like die or something.
No. She's still alive.
She's not
just
as popular as.
she is kind of she's kind of just become the Chun-Li of Guilty Gear, which is to say she's old news. She's old and busted.
Okay.
She's not the new hotness anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We need to move on. Let's talk about Kowloon generic romance, which okay. I have a few things. Honestly, I just put this as an excuse to talk about Kowloon High School Chronicle, which
fuck yeah,
dude.
dude.
But as I was actually looking at it, I might actually watch this.
Yeah, this does look kind of interesting because despite what the name says, it is not a generic romance. It seems to be some kind of weird time travel parallel dimension kind of thing.
Yeah, I've actually heard some buzz about the manga before.
I really love, not to be, old man here, but I like
the art style, right?
The art style looks very old, which is cool. And yeah, there's some kind of, I don't know if there's actual time travel shenanigans going on or something within the walled city here, but
Right, it actually takes place in the Kowloon
Yes, so this is actually unlike the game we want to
unlike
talk
other
about.
things that
This
have
actually
Kowloon
does
inside
take
them,
place in the Kowloon walled city, and there is romance.
just like Shunbu 2.
Yes. So I don't really know. I didn't really research much more beyond that, but almost by art style alone, I kind of want to check this out. It is apparently a seinen manga about adults.
Just
here.
by
It's not a high school
the
thing.
mangaka who did After the Rain, I think.
The main
Yeah, the
character,
art
some-
style definitely it feels like a dead
Yeah.
ringer for that, right?
The main character, some hot lady with short hair.
And glasses, yeah.
So
Just
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. But the real reason I put on here is I just want to shout out Kowloon High School
Dude.
Chronicle.
How-
You guys out here, oh, we got to keep it quick, guys. Can't
So-
have your tangent.
No, we don't need to dwell on it too long.
Well, what if we did?
But part of our Ira, I think you've played more of these games than I have at this point, but we've been on our dungeon crawler sicko phase, and what somehow you stumbled upon the
Yes.
obscure like 2004 or something
2004,
PS2.
the 2020 remake of the 2004 PS2 game, Kowloon High School
Yeah.
Chronicle.
So, yeah, we do need to set some time aside to talk more in depth about these games at some point. We're not going to do that fully now. I just want to shout out for now, and you wrote about it right on your
On my
site.
website,
If you want to plug
obsidianmoonshine.com.
that, yes, go check out Ira's Right. I've just started playing it myself. I haven't played too much yet. I just got stuck on the main. I just finished the first dungeon, which I was stuck on for a bit because I was having trouble finding any like walkthroughs or anything on this.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, so we're on our own on this one, but yeah, that game is a lot of fun. It's like I don't know, Ira, like if it feels designed designed in a lab to appeal to you specifically.
Kinda. I think my elevator
like
pitch for people who were wary of dungeon crawlers or what have you, or is like this feels like the missing link between Persona 1 and 2 and Persona 3.
Yeah,
Like-
in a way, maybe. I don't know, but it's like the very specific type of like supernatural urban fantasy packed into this like really low production value doujin game, which it's not a doujin game. This was like officially released on PS2 or something, but it feels like the
Yes.
you've got your like photo filtered backgrounds are like actual photographs filtered with filters on them, and like let's just say amateur-ish artwork.
It's got its own charm. The monster designs are really good.
Yeah, the monsters. Yeah, so but yes, like I said, it feels like specifically. I mean, it's something I think those are things that appeal to all of us in the GLORIO crew, but specifically you, Iro. I feel like that is like very much your thing. And
A particular type of shitty.
someday we might just have to like just make a special bonus episode where just you and I dive into
Talk about your weird shitty game obsession.
our dungeon crawler sicko games. After I get you to play Labyrinth of Galeria, the Moon Society, now available on PC, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. So I almost forgot the pitch. So anyway, let's keep going.
Aw.
I'm sorry, Iro. We
No, it's
do
fine.
have to keep talking. I guess it's time to get into the Shonen Jump shows, the mandatory Shonen Jump stuff. Starting with Witch Watch. Anybody?
Good title.
I don't know a goddamn thing about this.
I feel
the
like I
only
am
thing-
probably the person who keeps his ear to the ground the most on upcoming shonen on this
think
podcast,
so.
and I have never heard of Witch Watch. Sorry.
I've
thing is, like,
heard of Witch Watch. I don't know anything about it.
I read the first chapter of it. I remember nothing. I was like, I'm not going to keep reading this. This is super generic. But
All right.
now it's getting an anime, and it's like the big profile
Okay.
fucking Shonen Jump thing, and they're getting Yoasobi for the OP, and it's probably going to get its own line of like Uniqlo shirts. And
Sure. Okay.
Like-
Is this like in the same vein as that Magical Girl one that was airing last season?
Magi Lumiere.
Yeah.
No, I think the vibe is more like a magical girlfriend kind of thing.
I'm gonna read the
Oh.
plot summary here.
Well,
Morihito, a boy with the strength of an ogre, is about to start living together with his childhood friend Nico, who is trained to be
Yeah.
a witch.
all right.
Nico's
That's
magic leads to all
probably-
sorts of unpredictable trouble. With two teens under one roof, the fantastical antics begin.
I think Peter said they actually saw the pre-screening because I'm seeing the notes about this.
Yes,
Yeah, I think it got like a
believe they
Don
did.
style,
Yeah.
like.
I didn't hear anything from them on it, but
Is this like
so-
a Kojima thing? Like watch Twitch watch period?
Yeah, right. It did no follow up.
yeah. So I don't know, man. Let's just keep moving if we don't really have
Yeah.
anything else to say about that. The other one after this being the My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I don't know
The
what
spin-off, right?
So
this is
This
exactly.
this is interesting because in some ways this feels like it was inevitable, but also like
Mhm.
I for some reason it still surprises me that this is happening. But yeah, so Vigilantes is a My Hero Academia spin-off that was not written by Horikoshi. So like
Right.
this is like a full on
Question mark?
What?
Is that good? Question mark?
Oh,
Sometimes
considering
Yeah.
how My Hero Academia ended,
In some ways, Vigilantes like gets into more of the like interesting questions of the setting
Yes.
than the main
Yes.
story.
So the thing with so basically the premise of Vigilantes is Vigilantes kind of focuses primarily on, as the name describes, vigilante heroes who are not formally part of the hero system in the My Hero Academia setting, did not go to the high school to
Hero
any
school,
of the superhero
yeah.
schools, that they are in some ways closer to the original incarnation of like our conception of the superhero, of the masked like superhero,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like they fight crime for their own reasons, their own motivations, and without reward or support from like a government or a society as a whole. And I think like when everybody first heard about Vigilantes, I think everybody was like, "Yep, we're at that stage of a popular shonen. Time to churn out the spin-offs." And then Vigilantes turned out to be weirdly. Well, at first it started to be kind of interesting. It was like, oh, okay, you're actually doing something with this. And then an interesting effect happened where that as My Hero Academia itself got worse and worse, Vigilante started to become more interesting and like more flattering in comparison.
Yeah.
Like, the thing I would say about Vigilantes is like, I'm not going to necessarily say like, okay, so there are people out there who were like the Vigilantes diehards, right? There are people out there who were like, Vigilantes is the true My Hero Academia, and it's like, what I would say is that Vigilantes, unlike My Hero Academia, Vigilantes doesn't maybe peak as high, but it also never dips as low. It's much more consistent.
Mhm.
And I would say, as a result, Vigilantes' baseline by the end of My Hero Academia proper, like by default, just because Vigilantes could keep its head above water more consistently,
Right.
I think broadly ends better than the original manga.
So this also is complete then.
Yes,
It's
I believe
not
so,
still
yeah.
done. Okay.
Like, so yeah, like Vigilantes, I don't know. It's like I don't like. I really don't know like who this is going to necessarily be for. Like, I guess it's like I mean I guess it's going to be for weirdos like me, where like you liked My Hero Academia, but you also wanted like a more like microscope view on like the like particulars of like
Mhm.
what the society looks like for people who are not the main characters.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it'll probably be fine. It's got it's got some of the same. It's still Bones, I think.
Right. Yes.
It's got the same writer and music, or
Yeah.
in as much as Yuki Hayashi stock music will be used for
Yes.
it.
I mean,
Um,
yes, cynically, like you said, G, you kind of at first glance think of this as, oh, we're milking everything we can out of this, even with the anime, right? Like, well, we got to the anime was still
keep it running.
This is still a popular series. We got to
They made
squeeze whatever
Boruto,
we
they
can
made
out of
Dragon
it.
Ball Daima. We're gonna make
Right.
My Hero Vigilante.
That sounds like this is actually not that bad.
No, in
There's
fact,
actually
like,
some things going on.
Like just as like a, just as like a brief example. Like I'm not, I'm not gonna like go too deep on the show, right? But it's like the, like obviously the main character has a power, a quirk, right? And like, it's like a very stand-coded power.
Oh yeah,
and
stands a
something
long
that-
shadow.
And something that like My Hero Academia suffered from is that like Deku starts out with just like standard super strength, right? Because he inherits All Might's power, one for all, right? And then something happens in My Hero Academia about 2/3 in, where suddenly Deku gets 6 new powers out of nowhere. And
Which
it very much
like right. It's one of those things where it's like if they introduced that earlier, it probably would have been okay.
But like where it was
yeah.
introduced and how it was introduced, like whether intentional or not, reeked of, oh no, the writer doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Like, very much like Ichigo has a new form in this arc. Like it felt very hackneyed. It felt very poorly executed. And in the end, most people kind of agree that like Deku magically getting 6 new powers was sort of a microcosm encapsulation of like kind of the beginning of the fall of My Hero Academia. In contrast, the protagonist of Vigilantes, like a JoJo protagonist, just gets better and better at utilizing his quirk, his one singular quirk. And okay, there are a couple times
coming
where
up with a bunch of weird ways to use it, right?
Like very much, like there are a lot of fights in Vigilantes that make you go, I guess a quirk could do that.
Yeah. Right.
Which, to be clear,
I guess an invisible corpse has no meaning of up and down.
Yeah, exactly. So,
God.
like, I think that like
go ahead.
Actually, unironically, like I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna like watch Vigilantes. I don't like. I like the manga, but like I'm not sure I like it enough to like. I might like pull up a couple episodes of like some notable fights, but like I would actually say like, if you were like a My Hero Academia fan who kind of like walked away from that show or that manga kind of feeling like disgruntled about how that all wrapped up, I would actually say give Vigilantes a chance.
Cleanse the palate.
Definitely.
Reminder that there are interesting things going on in that universe, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, there's a dude whose gimmick is he doesn't have powers. He's just an old
a guy
dude
who punches
who's
dudes.
really strong and punches really hard. And look,
Yep.
we all love a guy who punches really hard.
True.
All right. Well, let's that'll end our Shonen Jump moment here. Let's move on. Let's talk about, I want to make sure I get this full title. The Mononoke Lecture Logs of Chuzenji Sensei, he just solves all the mysteries.
All the mysteries?
Wow, just straight to the point.
So this is a supernatural mystery thing about this student girl and her teacher, and the hook here is that it is set in Tokyo 1948.
Okay, very interesting time for Tokyo.
Post-war.
Yeah. And that could be interesting. There are many interesting stories you could tell coming out of that. However, I'm not sure that that's what we're going to be getting. Hard to say. Just watching the PV, if I were a betting man, I feel like the 1948 is more of an aesthetic choice.
Set dressing.
Than perhaps anything they're going to seriously engage with, because there are a lot of things you could be seriously engaging with at that time period, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, Aqua, you put this on here. Did you want to add anything about this one?
Just the fact that like this is based on like a series of novels. But I mean, the thing with detective novels, especially those that get turned into anime, it's kind of like a coin flip, except the coin has like 9 tails and 1 heads.
It's weighted. You're rolling a d10 and you're trying to roll a 10 every time, right? Yeah. Also, I feel like history has proven that there's a very thin line between novel and light novel when we're
I was literally about to say.
I'm also reading that this novel is like a prequel to a different, more noted series of novels.
Oh Jesus!
Interesting. I wonder if the other series is like actual present day or something, and this is like the past. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, it's an aesthetic choice. And if they do engage with any of the angles you could take, that might be interesting. I don't know if that's going to happen on this one, but I guess we'll see. Let's move on to what I think is the most important show on this list, except maybe Gundam, maybe, but we are getting season 2 of Aharen-san wa Hakarenai, which they never did give it an official localized title. So for some reason, I to this day I don't understand that. I forget what that actually means in English, or vaguely. I think it was just like indecipherable. Was it the word?
Yeah.
Is
she can't be read. Yeah.
Yes. So to refresh everyone's memory, this was a kind of
this one, yeah,
goofy romantic comedy with this kind of dude that makes friends with this girl in his class who is very quiet and does not understand the concepts of things like personal space, and they become friends, and by the end of season 1 they start dating, actually.
All right.
It seemed like that was like a good place to stop. Okay, to be fair, I seem to remember when season 1 ended, I actually said I'm not really that interested in seeing season 2.
Mm-hmm.
But enough time has passed. I kind of, because it's very episodic. It's very goofy. It's almost borderline surreal in some with the comedy, like, so both of the characters are just like huge dorks, but they're very enthusiastic and they're very nice people, right? But they're huge dorks, and they get into like just like weird, random hobbies that they take an interest in, and then they put their all into it for one episode, and it's funny, right? This had a rap battle in it. I think,
right. I'm watching this preview, and it seems like it's going to have some wacky one-offs in it.
Yeah, that's like, so like it is a show that you could just keep doing forever, because like there's not really much as an overarching plot. It's like, what wacky weird thing do they decide to get into this week?
This preview seems that they're going to be doing the old standbys of, we go to the beach and we have a sports festival.
Yes, but usually they'll like take it to some extreme that is funny.
I'm being a little bit facetious.
Right. I think they also apparently meet a Gyaru in the trailer, so
sure.
Revolutionary concept.
Why not?
Yes,
so
the age of the Gyaru has arrived.
Yes, in 2025, finally, right? Yeah.
I mean, the age of the Gyaru has been going on for like 3 years at this point.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's
So
I mean,
anyway.
One could say the Gyaru is almost like Hatsune Miku. She never truly disappeared. She
Yeah.
So
you know what they say about Gyaru? They're like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are extinct as well, but I've never met a guy who doesn't like dinosaurs.
When are we getting Gyaru Sentai?
You joke, but I'm sure there is some coked out 70-year-old exec at Toho or wherever.
Tohei, yeah.
No,
Tohei.
That will never happen. That will never happen, because it would require a Sentai team to consist of more than 2 women.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this show is fun. Can confirm. If you like your goofy anime comedies, it's a pretty good one. And even though it's like a pretty chill, seems like a pretty chill, quiet, like the main characters are both kind of reserved, like it actually does get pretty wacky and almost surreal in a lot of places, so it's pretty fun. All right, let's talk about Summer Pockets, and I feel like I need to offer some explanation on this one, because
Jun Maeda, retire, bitch.
Oh,
yes.
no, Jun Maeda.
So, okay.
No.
This is where I need to clarify. Jun Maeda did not write this. It is a key
Okay.
visual novel. Okay, there's a big asterisk on that, but technically Jun Maeda did not write this. I was doing research, and there's actually a pretty, at least what I thought was interesting, detailed account of the development of the original visual novel in the Wikipedia page. But so if anybody is interested, you can go read that. But apparently he came up with the idea for this. There was a very funny part in that, the whole retelling where like they were trying to come up with an idea for the next game, and like nobody could come up with anything. And Jun
What
Maeda
if there were girls
Jun
who
Maeda
were
was trying to
stupid,
let
but
Jun
also
Maeda was,
dying
like,
from an incurable disease?
Jun Maeda was trying to let like the other people come up with something, and finally he was like, "All right, fine, I'll do it." And he came up with it and was like, "Yeah, we all love that." And then, but that was all prior to him getting sick, and then he couldn't do it, so he had nothing to do with actually making the game after that, is what I understand. But so other than him giving the general concept, it was written by the other people at Key. But
It's just
I don't
just
think
seems like that-
functionally it's going to make much of a difference. I mean, it's what's the premise? The guy goes back to sort out his grandmother passed away, and goes back to the sleepy island that she lived on to deal with her, get her affairs in order or whatever. And he meets a mysterious girl who's probably dying, and the drill.
Is she dying, or is she already a ghost?
Oh yeah, that could be on the table.
Wait, okay, so like, are you actually gonna watch this? Like, I don't like. I'm trying to like. Are we just previewing this just so we could talk about Jun Maeda, or like?
Yes.
I have a feeling I'm gonna end up doing the first look for it, but
All right, sure.
The other reason, the other reason I will mention it is just a plug. If you do want your hit of Jun Maeda, you should probably just play Heaven Burns Red, the popular mobile game.
How long has that been out? Like, it had I feel like.
Well, it's been out. It's been over 2 years in Japan, but I think it's only been a couple months.
I think you can say popular, because I feel like the
if a game survives more than 1 year, it's popular.
Yeah, Gauntlet is pretty exacting these days, right? It's
yes. If you can get past having your release and your end of service date in one tweet.
All right, here's what it is. If as a gacha game, if you can live long enough to reach your first concert special.
Oh, that might be asking a lot. I don't know.
You're doing all right.
Well, it doesn't have to be a big concert. Just any
no. You just have to make it to the anniversary concert where you play all the
yeah. And so Heaven Burns Red. I stopped playing it, but I did actually enjoy it. It is very Jun Maeda once you get to the end of a certain point, but I think it showed me that he actually understands the Gen Z concept of the girl failure very well, and it was quite funny, most of it.
I mean, like,
also he can still write a pretty damn good anime song.
Dude basically invented the infantilized anime girl. It has just come around to being cool again, as opposed to being kind of weird.
This is a different, because you're talking about when the girls like
Ugu.
Yeah, this is like they're more older leaning. We've talked about girl failures enough on this podcast to understand them.
I think we have to distinguish between the Ugu and the the Bochis of the world. I guess.
Yes, the girls in Heaven Burns Red are more in the Bochi sort of field, just possibly dumber, which is very entertaining. And also, like I said, he's probably a better music composer than a writer. But
I mean, to be fair, like, that has always been kind of part of Jun Maeda's whole thing. Like,
yes,
but
but
I always think of like Clannad is like 80% dumb slapstick and like 20% sad.
But I'm saying the very specific, like, you'd have to. It's hard to explain in a podcast. I'm just saying the very specific type of character that is popular, like now he has adapted to.
Sure, yeah.
Which is arguably an evolution of the characters he was making back in the Clannad days or whatever. But
it's good that he adapts.
Yeah.
So I'm just this whole thing with Summer Pocket just makes me think of like, oh, we hear of trouble in town. We stir up our posse. All our entire bat family is here, and we go up to Junmaida's lair, and we kick open the door and be like, "You bastard, you're at it again!" And he just spins his chair. He's like, "No, it's not me you want this time."
Yes,
Uh-huh.
technically,
What is this?
technically, he did.
Now we must team up with our greatest arch enemy.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
let's move on.
All right, yeah. This is dead. Let's move. Let's.
Let's move on to.
Oh, yes, I get you 100%.
I understand. I understand where you were going with that one because I said he didn't write it. But anyway, Apocalypse Hotel. Exactly what it sounds like.
I mean, that's also basically all we know about this show.
So this is, I guess. So this is being made by Cygames Pictures.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is not tied.
are-
It is not tied to any of their games.
They're just
As
a real
far
ass
as we
studio at this
know.
point. Yeah.
Not
Yes,
yet, anyway.
As far as we know, yeah. Good point.
Interesting because I feel like Cygames has kind of been getting their ass kicked by like MiHoYo and Yostar these days. So like,
Yeah,
I
mean,
honestly,
do they still have Puzzle and Dragons?
that was never.
Was that never done?
Cygames.
Oh, okay.
I feel like these days Cygames is being kept alive solely on the sheer weight of Uma Musume.
Yeah, that's their biggest thing right
Fine.
now, and that's been
Yeah.
even though that's still waiting to be released outside of Japan. That's an old game by now. Like that's not.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not
I mean, to be clear, Cygames Pictures have expanded to original programming. Let's not
Yes.
forget, after all, they did a GLORIO favorite, Bravern, last year.
That's
so-
right.
Ah,
Yep.
yeah.
So they've expanded their portfolio, and this is another example. So this is Apocalypse Hotel. It is a hotel that exists in the
Apocalypse.
post-apocalyptic world where
Okay, well, you're going a little fast for me here.
civilization does not exist, and from what I can tell, it seems there is like some girl that takes up caring for this hotel, even though there's nobody there, and.
Right. This seems to be kind of, at least the premise and the setup seemed like one of those classic, like, oh, post-human, the robots must, like, figure out what to do with their existence in a like post-human world. But then I watched the PV, and this almost gives me more like a more comedy-heavy, like Yokohama Kaidashi
Yeah,
Kiko
YKK.
sort of like
Oh, wow. Okay.
YKK vibe of like more slapstick, to be clear.
Right.
But like
Yeah.
this is not so much like robots like interrogating their like internality as people, and more maybe more the angle of like we will learn to still enjoy living in a like post-human world kind of
Right.
vibe.
Yeah,
Is
and
this more like I'm the elevator man robot, and even though the world's end, I'm still elevatoring.
Seems
Kind of
like
thing.
yeah.
Like,
To be,
Kinda
to be
like
clear, there are robots and apparently aliens that
Okay.
show up at some point.
Right,
too. There's a
because
lot
the
of weird
premise
characters.
the premise explicitly said like humans are gone, but the hotel keeps operating. Like
even though
Okay.
they're humans, or unless they're robots that look like humans, I don't know. But
yeah,
I think
He-
that's the implication, right? Like these
Yeah. so it's very well animated. It looks very pretty.
it
I mean,
looks
what
really
helps
nice,
with
yeah.
what helps with the YKK comparisons is that it also has this very like retro soft like animation style or art style.
Yeah.
like it has the big
Yeah, I'm looking
eyes,
at
the
this
curly
now, yeah,
hair, like
Yeah,
Okay.
the animation, like, it moves a lot like that one anime you guys liked a lot from years and years ago.
to be a little more
You're
we're gonna have
specific.
to be way more specific than
The
that.
characters, like, bounce around in a very fluid manner.
Was it a Doga Kobo show?
They kissed a pillow.
Love Lab.
Is that
Oh,
Love
Love
Lab?
Lab. Yes.
Oh, Love Lab.
Yeah. There's like a bit of a Love
It has the
Lab,
bouncy,
like,
cartoony
bounciness,
animation.
right? These characters
Yeah.
kind of like, they kind of like do
Wait, you
have
never
that kind
saw?
of energy.
You've never seen Love Lab, G?
I watched like 3 episodes of it, and I was like, this shit ain't for me.
Okay. Oh, all right.
I was the Love Lab hater.
Yeah. I wonder if 2025 G would like it. That would be an interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think
Force anything.
I've chilled out a fair amount, but
he's come around to some stuff.
We might have to cancel Love Lab in 2025 because of the blackface scene. But
I'll tell you what, man. Like my most anticipated
on
anime of next season is probably City, the animation.
Yes.
So
Yep.
We're 3 months early for that.
We've looped around, man. Because if I
see that PV though,
we're 3 months early.
I want people to understand if we traveled back to 2010 and asked G how he felt about the next Kyoto animation show coming out, we'd get a very different response.
Look, I just don't vocalize it anymore because there's just no need, right? Like, what am I going to say? I'm not looking forward to this. I don't like this show. Like, there's no need for that.
Yeah.
Instead, I will just be happy when KyoAni makes a good anime, like any of the Nichijou style variety.
Right. All right. Well, let's keep moving.
Now, a series I'm happy to hate on.
Okay.
Oh,
all right,
boy.
So last episode we talked about Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuX for nearly 40 minutes.
I'm
and
setting
we're
the
do
timer
it again
right
because
now.
me and G and Iroh all saw the theatrical release of the I guess the first like 3 or 4 episodes of Moonrise. So I would say if you want the in-depth analysis of the beginning of Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuX, go back to episode 183 of the GLORIO chat and you can listen to us talk about it for 40 minutes. So we don't need to rehash all of that again today. I will just say for now so that was like the sort of premiere of the first couple episodes, but the TV series will be starting this season. If anybody doesn't know, this is the Gundam that is made by Studio Kara, written question mark, but primarily by and directed by Tsurumaki with
Joji Enokido.
Sorry, yes, I get confused who actually writes this because everyone also wants to blame Ano, which I don't think makes sense to me either. But because Hideaki Anno's name is also on it, but having seen the first couple episodes, this is a Tsurumaki anime. I am putting it in his hands primarily, as far as vibes. And I don't know. Is it a spoiler to say the premise at this point? Does everybody just know? Should we just be safe? Should we just be safe and put the spoiler warning on it? But
I mean,
everybody knows.
I'm watching a PV they released today, in which they revealed their redesigns of the Dom and GM. Okay.
So, all right, fine. It is one last spoiler warning, but it is an alternate history of the UC where Zeon wins, and we are now. But the story seems to be primarily focused on this girl who gets tied up in some like underground robot fights, and she happens to stumble upon the Gundam and enters the underground robot fights, and that's kind of all we've seen so far. But I think it's got a lot of potential, but still needs to prove it. Is where I've kind of left off on.
I am very trepidatious on, especially considering the news that it will be 12 episodes.
Yeah,
Wait,
you beat me to it.
Did they say it's only 12 episodes?
Yep.
This is a one core Gundam.
Are you serious?
I know. I am
with
like
with this staff.
I know, with this staff and this premise,
they couldn't give this staff 24 episodes.
I know, dude.
And we've already seen
it's
4
not
of
going
them?
to be split core. Like,
what I heard is that it will be 12 episodes.
Yeah.
They gave Witch from Mercury 24 episodes at least.
they Damn.
Yeah, this really throws a wrench into like everything we have talked about this show, because like 12 episodes is not enough time to explore both like the Machu plot line,
because we already know the first like 3 or 4 gives us nothing. That's just the introduction, right?
Yeah,
like,
and so like the idea that this show only has like 8 more episodes to like, I don't know, man. It's actually really.
It didn't even occur to me that this would be 12 episodes. Like that didn't even seem like a possibility.
I mean, yeah, it's
Oh man,
I feel like it's sort of like put a damper on this show, because like, I mean, whatever. Like we liked what we saw, but it's like,
Surumaki can't catch a break, huh?
We have so many. We have so much baggage. I don't know.
We have like it's just, I don't know. The idea of doing a Gundam in 12 episodes is like unthinkable to me. I mean, even 24 was already too tight for my taste.
I mean,
like,
all right.
And for the record, there have been many Gundam OVAs that have been, know, by pure runtime shorter than 12 episodes.
Yes,
that we have enjoyed.
I was going to say,
however.
Surumaki is most famous for Fooly Cooly and Die Buster, which are notably both only 6 episodes, right? Although that said, well, with Fooly Cooly, it has a very specific style that packs probably 12 episodes of content into 6 episodes. But yeah, that's weird, man. I don't like that at all. I mean, I'm not going to write it off, but that does make me even more skeptical.
Yeah,
that they're going to be able to land on the plane in that amount of time.
I think. I mean,
I thought I could retire the hashtag free Surumaki.
No, I mean, like it's so unfair.
Let him cook.
It feels like Surumaki has come out of the basement for 1 season of anime, and there's just Anno waiting off to the side, like wrapping a stick in his hand, waiting to roll him back into the Kara Ava basement after he's done. Like Tsurumaki's out here as a sign of life. Like yeah, look, it's Tsurumaki. He's here. He's alive and well. Everybody.
Saying we're Weekend at Burning Tsurumaki.
He is alive.
It's the hostage video to show you.
Yeah. It's just Tsurumaki's reading off a teleprompter. He's like, "Hello, everybody. I'm Tsurumaki. They are treating me well at Kara. Inshallah. Evangelion forever." You know, like
I have learned to love the culture of of China.
Actually, the Kim Dynasty are benevolent rulers.
Anno is a benevolent leader. He has treated me very well.
My god.
Actually, I did see a pretty funny bit in an interview after we discussed Gundam GQuuuuuX last time, where they actually interviewed Tsurumaki about like GQuuuuuX and like the whole, like, you know, now that the cat's out of the bag about the story. And apparently there's a bit in an interview where he's like, everybody keeps saying Anno this, Anno that, asking us about like the whole like 1 year war rewriting thing. Actually, that wasn't Anno's idea. It was mine. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why I've been getting kind of annoyed with people like projecting what like they know what Anno's involvement was with it when none of us really know. And it's like, oh well, clearly he, like that's probably the main example. Clearly Anno must have heard all that part, or that was his idea or whatever. And it's like, we don't know. Like
he might still have like he might still have like been involved with that, but no. Apparently Tsurumaki says he was the one who brought the idea of rewriting the 1 year war to Anno first, and then they kind of like expanded it from there.
Yeah, so you know, we don't really know who, and you know, a lot of times it's
look, we can't stop the anime fan base writ large from filleting Hideaki Anno over and over. Like,
I feel like it was sometimes it's the opposite, where
then let's say until it's raw and painful. Like it can be both. Like,
oh man.
Well. Anyway, GQuuuuuX, a lot of potential, but I am increasingly skeptical that it's going to get there. Right.
One last shout out. I will just say, because of that PV, I got to get my mecha bullshit in here. I kind of like the redesign of the Dom. I think it's kind of hard to tell in this new PV, but it seems like what they have done is that the Dom in the GQuuuuuX timeline just has a third leg mounted to its back.
Okay.
to like serve in space as a booster, but I think the implication is that when it's on land, the third leg hinges down to like support the like hover, like the hover tank like gimmick of the Dom. Also, I kind of actually really like their redesign of the GM. They've kind of taken the like upside down T shape of the GM's visor as an excuse to give the GM a tri-eye, like not a mono eye, a trio eye. It has 3 eyes, I guess, which is kind of neat. Also, again, this is shit only a mega fan cares about. They gave it asymmetric Vulcans, man. I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of it's an interesting choice, but I don't hate it necessarily.
The new gun tank look cool.
Dude, that gun tank.
Gun tank is pretty good.
That gun tank is so fucking rad. Like that's why Char had to blow it up in episode 1. Like if they had mass produced that gun tank, I don't know, man. Fuck the Gundam. We don't need the Gundam to win this war, man.
I don't really know what I'm talking about. I just wanted to throw you guys an alley oop on that one.
No, you did. You knew exactly what you were doing, Chell.
It does look cool. Like I don't really have much context, but it does look cool. I'm sure you guys will get a lot of kits out of this one, right?
Look, man, tanks are just like Gyarus. Tanks might be extinct, but I've never seen a man who didn't like a tank. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have plenty of more Gundam talk. I'm sure that's going to be our most heavily covered. Maybe we'll set another record for longest discussion, single show discussion on the GLORIO chat in one episode, but we'll see. All right. Aqua, do we even have anything to say about these next 2 shows? I mean, we technically have time, but like the first one.
I mean, I just want to acknowledge that Shaft are doing a new show, which is semi-noticeable.
Ninja and Assassin under one roof.
It will suck shit, but it's being directed by the Shaft guy, like not Shinbo, but
I was going to say.
I was about to say you mean Shinbo.
I don't know. I don't think
he's just
Shinbo
the guy
directs anymore. I think
he's basically the guy who, like, I mean, Shinbo is one of those people who also loves to put his name on shit that he didn't actually direct. Like
the old Gen Urobuchi.
Yes,
okay, I will.
I mean, speaking of Gen Urobuchi, for example, this guy was basically the guy who directed Madoka, for example.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, does this? I don't know. Doesn't even really look well. It kind of does look like a Shaft show, I guess, when I'm looking at the the PV.
I think the era of like Shaft is kind of behind us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The putting the like pervy otaku bait show in the dressing of an artsy sort of whatever presentation that is kind of dead, and it doesn't look like this is bringing it back. I don't know. It just looks like a silly comedy, silly colorful comedy,
right? And the second show, Mono, is just of interest because it's based on a manga by the author of Laid Back Camp, which is a beloved staple in
that is a very popular series,
cute girls doing cute things genre. And this is basically the same, except it's about like
they take more pictures, I guess.
Filming, like camcorder filming. No, it's not even camcording. It's just with your phones. Yeah, and that's basically it.
I'm sure people will love this. I couldn't take more than 1 season of Laid Back Camp. It was all right. I understand the appeal, but I could only take so much of that at some point.
New studio though.
Sure.
Yeah, interesting. I don't even know how you say that studio name, but
Soigne. I mean, if it's pronounced the French way.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, Aqua, I think you baited me on the next one. So, next show is Food for the Soul. this is the next PA Works show, and Aqua, you put in your
What
notes
genre?
from the creator of Akiba Maid Wars. I'm like, oh hell yeah, let's go.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
And then I actually looked at the show.
that is some real, like, from the studio
that brought you Cowboy
Bebop.
Yeah.
Hey, one sec. This is actually written by the guy who wrote Akiba Maid Wars.
Okay.
Right, but even so, it doesn't change the fact of
That it's a cute girls doing cute things show. Yeah.
Wait, is it the writer?
Yeah.
Where are we getting this from? Because the okay, that's the
Series composition, Akiba Maid War.
Yep.
Yoshihiro Hiki.
okay, but it looks like because I'm seeing original story by.
He might just have a series composition credit.
Yeah, I'm seeing original story by the person that wrote Non Non Biori, which makes more sense because that
makes more sense. Yeah.
You've bamboozled us.
So yes, this is not
this TV.
Akiba
Just
Maid
has
War.
live action footage of food in it.
This is literally extremely cute anime girls eating food. It's called. So I didn't even say the title. It's called Food for the Soul, and it is like very cute and like the young looking type of cute anime girls eating
They're in
food
college
and being very. I know it says they're in college, but they all look like they're 12.
Yeah.
And
I think if this actual show like has all this live action cooking footage, I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be up for an anime that is just a cooking show.
Aqua, there are so many manga out there right
I know.
now. Like, like there are so many manga out there right now that are just like
cooking papa.
Bro,
Struggles to name one.
Like,
I don't know.
No,
like,
I just mean like, do you need a tonkatsu recipe? Like chapter 27 of
right,
whatever, you know.
I mean, is this basically just like tapping into like, I don't know. I it's very popular, and I'm guilty of this, of just like putting
food videos on
YouTube up in the back as background noise or whatever. Are we just channeling that into an anime here?
I can't do that. Shit just makes me hungry. You know, I'm just like
it does. Yeah, it's dangerous for sure.
You may have heard of binging with Babish. Now we get wolfing down with waifus.
There's the episode title, folks. Yeah. So this does not look like
this looks like a manga adaptation also.
Honestly, even by PA Works standards, this looks like a boring show, for being honest.
I think this is an original, but
it doesn't look awful, but it looks boring.
Yeah,
maybe
this
is just a manga like tie-in. Yeah.
So,
all right.
We just go watch Akiba Maid Wars, people, please. Let's move on. Let's talk about Moonrise.
Okay.
All right. Somebody else explain this one to me.
Don't Ubukata retire, bitch.
If you don't have Amazon and can't watch Gundam GQuuuuuX, don't worry. Netflix says we have Gundam at home. Moonrise is so as you said, yes, creator by the infamous shall we say To Ubukata.
I mean, to be infamous, you need to have done noticeable things.
He's listed as original creator, but he's not the director or composition.
No, so he is probably not actually.
Ubukata is like Urobuchi's shitty protege.
Yeah, and he's following in Urobuchi's footsteps by putting his name on shit he has nothing to do.
But as far as I know, Urobuchi never beat his wife. So
that's also true.
And then wrote a book about it afterwards. Get the fuck out of Ubukata.
Why I did it by To Ubukata.
Yeah, okay, fine. You beat me to the bit. Moonrise. It's really okay. So I feel like we've seen enough of these at this point. That I'm not crazy, right? There's even when they hire different studios, there's a Netflix anime house style,
yes,
now, right?
Yes, it has been for years. They are chasing that Cowboy Bebop-esque like type of show, right?
I mean, it's
Right.
thing you recognize. You like Full Metal Alchemist, right? It's the best anime ever.
It doesn't even look like her art.
Barely. Yeah.
Okay. So to bring this back, so this is what appears to be a Moonrise appears to be a Netflix original anime made by Wit Studios or contracted out to Wit Studios. About it's Gundam. It's Gundam. The people on the moon declare independence from Earth, and the Earth sends their greatest soldier, Jacob Shadow, to bring down the Moon Rebel Army led by Bob Skylum.
Oh, is this the the Razafon to Evangelion, Moonrises to Gundam?
It kind of has that energy, though it's not mecha.
Is Bob Skylum I get the feeling that the long-haired dude, Phil Arsh, is like the Char equivalent here.
Maybe.
Sure, but Bob Skylum is the name they say in the trailer, and it's funnier to just say Bob Skylum. So, you know.
Yes.
You know, and this, and it kind of has this like Netflix, like, and what I mean by like Netflix, like kind of like style, like house style, is like this, like kind of what I would describe as thoughtless, grabbing of notable names in the industry without really thinking about like what those individuals kind of bring to a production, or like what those individuals are good at. Because yeah, for example,
Zero.
yeah. So you know, the notable thing, right, is like it has original character design by Hiromu Arakawa, who is the creator of or the author of Full Metal Alchemist, and Silver Spoon, yes, and other works. But I mean, FMA is the main one, right? And it's like very funny that they got her to do the character designs for this anime. And then you watch the PV, and it looks like the anime is doing everything in its power to scrub every trace of Arakawa's style out of the characters. Like, which is like, again, one of those delightfully feels like Netflix boneheaded things to do. Because, like, Arakawa has nothing to do with the writing or anything else in this show. She was contracted to do the characters. And I feel like if you had just retained her art style and character designs, you just show that on your Netflix reel, and so many casual anime fans just see the Full Metal Alchemist art style and go, oh yeah, I like Full Metal Alchemist, I'll watch this show. You know? And so to like scrub her style out of it just feels like a really weird self-own. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's actually much to like say about the show. Like visually, it's Wit Studios, and like the PV looks nice in that kind of like kinetic action style that they're good at, right? Very you know, the things they learned from doing Attack on Titan, right? People just kind of like zooming like bullets midair. I don't know, dude. I don't think this thing, like, I kind of want to watch We Have Gundam at Home just out of sheer curiosity. But
it feels like it's appealing to the, like, I'm going to sound like an asshole saying this, but like the casual Netflix anime fan that's like flipping through looking for anime to watch.
No, totally.
I mean, like the fact that they even contracted Wit Studio for this almost feels like a very cynical, like, oh, let's get the Attack on Titan studio to make this anime so that we can
this is also literally the Attack on Titan director doing this. So.
That is true. All right, fair enough.
It's
from the people who brought you Attack on Titan.
But yes, that kind of energy.
Seasons 2 to 4.
And from the people who brought you Attack on Titan and Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes, exactly, right? You get that really slick elevator pitch. Even if it's like not actually like accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it like watching it's yes, the animation's pretty, but I don't know, it feels so like soulless to me for some reason.
And it sucks because like
and that's a harsh thing to say in like a 2-minute PV or whatever, but like, you know, we've watched a hell of a lot of anime. We can catch the vibe.
It's like we were talking about the other day, G, like if you were to pitch us an actual space opera by Hiromu Arakawa, we'd be like super into it.
we would be in we would be camped out the door, like that's catnip, man.
That's a no questions asked.
Yeah, that is not what we're getting here, though. Not even close.
The one thing I'll give Moonrise credit for is they did seem to understand the assignment of we are making fake Gundam. So all the characters have really dumb Gundam appropriate names. It's not just Bob Skylum. I'm also seeing here in the staff Windy Sylph, Wise Crown, and Novice Harbinger.
Windy Sylph and Novice Harbinger are very funny.
Well, I'm seeing here there's not only Windy Sylph, but a Dr. Salamandra, so there's probably also a, I don't know, Jack Gnome and, I don't know, Karen Undine.
Right. We're just gonna get well, I guess different mythology. I was about to say Sam Ifrit or something.
Yeah.
Novice Harbinger
Howard
sounds...
Yeah.
Novice Harbinger sounds like a generic enemy you fight on the streets in the Yakuza game.
I think Hero described Novice Harbinger
fighting in Xenoblade. Look,
a very Xenoblade coded enemy name.
Xenoblade Novice, Xenoblade enemy names are Clark the sleeping dragon or whatever. So
name the adjective type of monster.
So it's I guess a real Xenoblade monster would just be Howard the Novice Harbinger. No.
I was just walking around on Gore Plains being level 14, and then I got demolished by Clark the Novice Harbinger.
That's okay. No, I'll already beat me to it, right? Yes, Novice Harbinger is the name of the level 30 roaming enemy in the first overworld zone of a Xenoblade game.
Yes.
Because don't worry, because then veteran Harbinger is the palette swap.
Joseph the veteran Harbinger will kick your ass in the second zone.
If you haven't maxed out your God, I can't even. Dude, Xenoblade mechanics are so arcane. I can't even name them off the top of my head anymore. Your overdrive?
Are you even doing what is it splash damage?
You haven't fixed your soul voices yet. You're fucked.
Stupid. All right. Well, we're just about the end of the list here. Aqua, I'm surprised you didn't put the Dogakobo show on here. The Shunji family children.
That just looked like a generic harem.
You don't get to say that for some of the shit you put on here.
I'm joking because God, this I think I posted this in the Discord yesterday, but I'm going to read this word for word because I can't describe it in a better way. Arata has never had a girlfriend, but he has 5 sisters and a brother. One day, his father reveals that he and his siblings aren't blood related.
Is the brother going to turn out to actually? Is the brother going to turn to actually be a sister?
I would almost guarantee yes. One of his brother will also be a girl.
Or is the brother the one who's let me supply you all of their measurements?
No. It'll be it's 2025. We're progressive now. The brother will also be an option in the harem.
Of course,
that'll be the
and then every time the guy will go but he's a dude.
Yeah. Anyway. The last show on here, Aqua, you're saying was the most important one of all.
Hell yeah, anime of the year, all year. Yeah, so they're making a show with all. Yes, they're making a show with all the mascots from all the previous Precure shows.
No.
Into one. Is it a short or is it?
It's. I don't. Who knows? It almost has to be, right? But the thing is, Zig and I have been super into Precure lately, and we especially like the mascots just because they are complete pieces of shit. There's two categories, the ones that are pieces of shit intentionally, and the ones that are try to be generic cutesy commercially viable mascots but completely fail and as a result end up being complete shit. So having a show where they all interact with each other seems like a great idea, except I have just learned that this show will not have any dialogue.
Oh,
wait, what's the point?
Well, they're just gonna go.
What's the point?
Because if you had dialogue, you would just end up in a horrible, never-ending feedback loop of their Ugu
Speech works.
catchphrases.
Yeah.
Right.
Popo, mepo. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
and it would never end, and everyone's brains would melt and shoot out of their ears. Like,
Well, is that not the point? Like,
Yes.
if you not double, like, if you're okay, because like to make a Precure spin-off about all the mascots almost feels like this is the eighth heavenly gate, right? you are undoing a seal that
you
you
gain
cannot.
power greater than the Hokage.
Well, this is the nuclear option, right? Like
This is like doing Final Fantasy VII remake.
right, like this kind of anime concept is like you are intentionally creating a cognito hazard, right? Like
Precure's basilisk.
Yeah, is this like a fucking information hazard? Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like looking at this will like cause like permanent IQ loss, or like it will carve out your soul, or you might just die on the spot, right?
Yep.
Like if you're intentionally already creating something like this, I don't know why you don't
It
just
will
double down.
mark you to be turned away at the gates of heaven. Like,
Yeah, like why not? Like why not just make these characters talk in their fucking horrible noise voices?
That would be like making a Kamen Rider shows where all the belts just yell at each other.
I would watch that one actually.
How have we not gotten like
Shoved to
yeah
be
like
touched
like
in cheese.
like a
remember-
short or a movie or a TV special that's just all the like Toku Sentai like mascot buddies have to team up or something, you know?
what the fucking
the villain has
hamster for a
captured-
changer, like
The villain has captured all the actual
Like every
Now the
talking
Only-
belt,
only- yeah.
ring,
yep. Puppet,
gauntlet. Yeah, just
At the end of every show, Boomer shows up to recruit you into the mascot ranger.
I'm putting
Bunorio
together a
Bunderas.
team.
Alpha 5 is here, yeah.
Yeah. All
Oh
right.
my god.
Well, on that note,
Or one.
that will conclude our season preview for spring 2025. We made it in reasonable time here.
What's your front runner? Everybody sound off.
It should be
Gundam
Gundam.
is the show
right?
I will watch to completion. I can
Okay,
guarantee
sure.
you that.
Yep. That's fair.
I mean,
yep.
I mean, Gundam is should be the one we're most
Mhm.
excited for, given the staff and whatnot.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, other than that, a lot of these are just kind of rolling the dice. My only other guaranteed pick for me is Aharen-san, but I'm
Sure.
not expecting anyone else to jump on that train. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm cautiously optimistic about Gundam.
I'm sure. Look, there are so many possibly good ones here that I'm sure something will stick. Right?
Sure.
Mhm.
Yes.
Something always does, except for last season. So
How bad could it
So-
be?
so there's enough like possibility here that I'm sure one of these is going to be surprise us, or maybe there'll be something we didn't talk about. Maybe that show with the girl rewinding time by taking off her panties will actually be good. I swear I'm not going to watch it.
Hmm.
Who knows? So
Hey, and if all fails, Mao Mao will always be there for
and Mao
us.
Mao will still be there for us
Right.
next season, or for
Yep.
you guys. I still haven't watched it, but yes. All right. Well, that'll do it then. Let's do our housekeeping. You can check us out at theglorioblog.com. Sometime in the next week or two here, we will start putting out our written first looks, so keep an eye out for that. You can follow us on Blue Sky at GlorioBlog. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, Stitcher, and of course YouTube, where you can like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, all those good things. Also check out the other podcast that we've been doing, or you guys have been doing, Zig and Aqua, and so far most of the time G.
Yeah, there are sometimes.
Blue Mondays, which is the Eureka 7 watch along podcast.
I'd also like
putting
to
out-
shout out friend of the site, Yotsu Ben. His updated autopsy report podcast on the Ace Attorney series has completed the full Ace Attorney series. They've moved on to stuff
For
that
now.
inspired Ace Attorney, and
Okay.
so their next podcast will be on A Study in Scarlet, the first Sherlock Holmes book.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's good.
Nice. So yep, shout out to them, of course, longtime friends of GLORIO. Yeah, that'll do it. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we'll catch everybody next time.